Hello. You'll see videos that claim house prices in the UK are rising. And at the same time, you'll see other reports that UK property prices are static or even falling. So which is true? Actually, both of these are true because the UK housing market is split. It's split by location, type of property, and size of property. So in the south and in London, prices are stagnant or falling, whereas in the north, they're expected to continue to rise. Larger, more expensive houses are static, whereas smaller, more affordable houses are rising. Leasehold apartments, especially in London and other city centres, are falling, whereas freehold houses are rising. In all cases, rental supply is falling whilst rental demand continues to increase, resulting in higher rents. In this video, we're going to explain why the UK housing market is split and the underlying reasons for this, and how investors can get the best long-term returns and rental yields by buying the right sort of property. If you find this video useful, please tap the like button and subscribe to our channel. We release UK property investment videos every week. So I'm going to cover the three main ways why the housing market is split and how almost for everyone, rents continue to rise. So what does this mean for property investors looking for long-term security and passive rental income? What should they do? We'll discuss that as well. Firstly, let's look at the regional split in the market. House prices in London and the south are static, and in some of these areas are falling, whereas houses in the north of England continue to grow. Prices in the north have traditionally been lower than the south. Now, with the ability of people to move from anywhere, the properties in the north look very attractive to people living in the south. The same two-bed house that is over £320,000 in the south near London is only around £80,000 in the north, over 4 times cheaper. With high mortgage rates and low savings, younger people simply can't afford housing in the south. This means that people who can move are moving from London and the south to the north because the houses are more affordable. And due to the changes in the way society is working, more people will be able to move in the future. Eventually, the difference between the south and the north will become less. So if you're looking to buy a property for long-term investment, then buying affordable properties in the north makes perfect sense. The same property that is over £320,000 can be purchased for £80,000 with the likelihood that the difference between them will get less over the long term. So this is why investors are not buying property in London and the south. Secondly, when we look at the type of property, the market is also split. Prices on flats or apartments, which are typically leasehold, are falling, whereas prices on freehold houses are rising. This trend can be seen particularly in the south and also in major cities in the north. There are two reasons for this. Firstly, service charges have increased and made such properties more expensive to own. And secondly, many high-rise apartments have become unpopular following the Grenfell fire. People are more reluctant to buy such apartments. So if you're buying for investment, it makes sense to buy a freehold house, not an apartment, be that a student pod, off-plan apartment, or a brand new city centre apartment. Buy a house instead. Thirdly, premium large properties are dropping in price, whereas small, cheap, energy-efficient houses are increasing in value. Families and households are getting smaller, which means that the demand for affordable, smaller, low-cost properties will continue to rise. Large properties only make sense if they can be divided into smaller units or let out as individual rooms or HMOs, but the costs of doing this are very high. For investors, it makes sense to buy smaller, cheaper properties as these will deliver the best rental yields, have lower risk, and will be in the highest demand in the future. Finally, when we look at rents, we see that these are increasing in all areas. And the main driver of this is the increased desirability of renting and the reduced supply of such rental properties. Rental demand has increased because fewer houses are affordable to buy. The Renters' Rights Act has made renting fairer for tenants with higher standards. And lifestyle changes mean more people want to rent because of the flexibility it offers. On the other hand, housing supply remains very tight, with very few affordable houses being built. And some active landlords have left the rental market after the Renters' Rights Act. This means that rents are expected to continue to rise, which is overall good for property investors. Such changes in the UK market mean that now is the ideal time to consider investment in rental property. But you need to get the right type of property. Don't buy expensive leasehold apartments in London or the South. The ideal property is a small two-bedroom freehold house located in the north, which is energy efficient with EPC rating of C or higher. And if you do invest in such a rental property, then do it 100% passively in a way that you're not the active landlord and without having to deal with tenant or property maintenance issues or landlord liabilities. How can you do this? You can do this by buying the rental property and immediately renting it to a professional company, such as a sponsor of this video, who agrees to maintain that property, become your tenant, and take on every cost and every liability and pay you a fair rent. The company then acts as the landlord and sublets to their own tenants to get a higher rent than they pay the owner and handle the maintenance, compliance, arrears risk, tenant issues, and all the liabilities under the Renters' Rights Act. Investors simply get the agreed net rent regularly with no surprises and no involvement. The right UK property in the form of low-cost freehold houses in the north gives good income and steady long-term growth with low investment risk. It's a secure, tangible, physical asset that you possess and which is still there if the stock market bubble pops or even if the financial world collapses. Please watch the short message from our sponsor at the end. They sell freehold two-bed houses in the north that are fully renovated with EPC grade C or higher for under £80,000. And they have a system which means you can be 100% passive investor. Thanks for watching. Freehold houses in the north are the best form of UK property investment. They're affordable, deliver higher rental yields, and are growing at 6% per year. And here's an amazing offer from our sponsor.
Most investors spend £120,000 on one property. This deal gets you 2 houses from our range and effectively get the larger one at less than half price. It also hands you legal ownership of both houses today and delivers over £1,000 net rent every single month. Let that sink in. Same budget, but instead of one asset, you get 2 freehold houses registered in your name immediately. Take the two-bed H2 option, each valued at £86,000. With this amazing offer, the total package price you pay is just £120,000. That's a huge discount of more than £51,000. You enter a rent-free period of 4 years and 4 months, which at first might sound like a drawback, until you realise that the future rent is what's funding the deal and getting you a second property for less than half the normal price. No interest charges, no complex financing, just a clean, structured arrangement. Once that 4-year, 4-month period ends, you're collecting over £12,000 net rent per year. That's a 10% net rental yield of over £1,000 a month after all costs and fees. Nothing more to pay out. For bigger budgets, the 2-bed and 3-bed combo includes our top-of-the-range 3-bed semi-detached house, which we normally sell for £129,000, but you get it for effectively half price at £64,500. With this combo, the net rent amount jumps to over £15,000 annually. Any combination of the 7 eligible property types lands you at roughly 10% net yield. Prices are rising on low-cost freehold houses in the north by around 6% per year. Our prices are increasing in the summer by £2,000 per property. If you make a reservation this month, we will honour the current price even if completion is after the price increase. Visit Find UK Property and talk to a consultant today.
If you want to invest in property and get 7% net rent, long-term capital growth, no costs or liabilities ever, do nothing yourself and be living anywhere in the world, then consider Find UK Property. They provide 100% passive investment solutions for long-term income from freehold properties starting at under 80k. You get a property that is affordable, fully renovated, already rented out, contractually guaranteed and productive from day one. You become the owner and rent it back to Find UK Property so that they become your tenants and look after all aspects of the property in a fully compliant way. You never need to deal with tenants, estate agents, or do any property maintenance or repairs, or pay for any costs. Find UK Property look after over 2,500 houses, all of which are sublet to their own tenants. And on average, they get more rent from their tenants than they have to pay the property owners. So that way they can cover all the property costs. Their solutions are great for those wanting to retire on pension-type income or gradually build large property portfolios passively in a tax-efficient manner. Please visit the website at findukproperty.com and speak to a consultant today.